Welcome to episode 71 of Paris Playbook. Today I'm joined by Nick Gonrowski of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. I always want to say UW Superior when I'm thinking Stevens Point. I don't know why. I just like think of the S and I always go Superior. So I always got to catch myself and then go like UWSP and work it out. We got a Pointers hockey here, having a great year. We'll talk about this year and a bunch of other stuff throughout this episode. But Nick, thanks for hopping on the podcast.
Yeah,
Glad you're joining me.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to diving into everything.
Yeah. There's a lot to dive into, and I think the best place to start is kind of your juniors experience. I mean, hockey obviously it's a little bit different than every other sport. Most guys don't start playing college hockey till they're 2, 3 years out of high school when everyone else is going into their sports, right out of high school. So you guys, I mean, hockey players have that little bit of a gap, playing juniors. Some guys play in multiple leagues, some guys play in one league the whole time. I know you played in a couple different leagues for some different teams. You bounced around. So, kind of, how was your whole juniors experience? From start to finish. I know that's a big question, but
Yeah. So I was fortunate to have 3 years to play juniors, and it was very very pivotal for my development as a hockey player and as a person as well. It started so my senior year. I'm from Minnesota. I played for my high school, Armstrong Cooper. We're out of New Hope, Minnesota. The high school's in Plymouth. So it started there, and at the end of the season, I decided that I wanted to go pursue college hockey, and it had always kind of been a dream of mine since I guess I took it pretty seriously come middle school. But yeah, after my senior year, I did like this. It's called like the Grade Eight tournament, and they choose like the top seniors in the state, and you all go compete, and there's a ton of scouts there. So I ended up getting a look from Fairbanks, and I went to Fairbanks's pre-draft camp, and I actually broke my arm. Um, so it kind of put me out for the rest of the summer, and I had to get surgery on it as well. So I was basically rehabbing all summer, and I kind of just kept in contact with the coach, and he's like, "Hey, we want to take a chance on you, like fly up here and come to our training camp and see what you can do." So it was like a week turnaround after that, and I booked a flight and I headed up there, and that's kind of where my journey began. I was there for the showcase and just a little bit after. Um, and then I ended up getting released and I went home, and I had talked to a coach previously. His name's John. He was I think he was with Breezy Point, and I had tendered there my senior year. And then he ended up taking a job with the Minnesota Moose, which was out of Blaine and Fogarty, where the Robertson Cup is hosted. And it just seemed like the best fit for me. I didn't really feel like I was ready to like make a big move, and I didn't really have any looks in the NAHL either. So I was like, if I am gonna play tier three, I want to play with someone I'm familiar with first off, and I want to live at home, just kind of like save some money, and it gets a little expensive. So that was my first year. At the end of that year, I ended up getting drafted by the Minnesota Wilderness. So I went up there. I did their main, made the team. I was there for up a little bit after the new year. And it just really wasn't, it just didn't work out very well. I wasn't getting much playing time. So I decided that I was gonna ask to leave and see what I could do, or see if anyone wanted to pick me up when I was released. And I was fortunate enough to get a call from Janesville, and I went there, and it was basically like a week long tryout essentially, and I ended up solidifying myself as one of their guys, and that's where my career kind of ended. And obviously, that COVID came and ended that year short, which was a bummer. But I made a lot of good friends there. My billets I'm still in contact with. Ironically, I play against one of the guys that I lived with. He's at Augsburg, so that's super fun. But yeah, no, that was so much fun, and then I got the ability to go back to Alaska and play Fairbanks, and yeah, it's just I'm so fortunate for that experience and everything that it brought me. So,
so at what point of your junior years did you start talking to colleges and like recruitment start?
uh, probably the heaviest was my age out year after the showcase. That's when I got like a couple looks, and then my coach would like let me know or like give me a heads up before a weekend series and be like, hey, like so and so is here to like watch you. I mean, we play in Chippewa, which is super close, so Eau Claire, Endpoint. And we played in Janesville, and we'd have like MSOE and schools like that that were a little bit more east. And then we also played the Magi, so you got all the MIAC schools there. But no, it really picked up right after the showcase, I'd say, and then it kind of died off a little bit until top prospects. Fortunately, we were able to get top prospects in, but I think we ended like a week or two after that. I think we shut down due to COVID. I feel like it was like the first week of March that we were there. But no, those were like the two heaviest periods, and obviously it came down to a decision, and I decided to come to Point, and I've loved it, and I feel like it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Anything crazy throughout your juniors experience? I mean, I know there's that page called like the Vietnam or whatever on Instagram, and they post some kind of wacky videos once in a while, or some crazy fans, or get a good fight or something. You ever experienced anything in your juniors that was a little out of the ordinary?
Yeah. Oh gosh, let me think. Nothing too crazy that would like nothing like what was on Vietnam. I know that the Null South had a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, you have your bus breaking down, like stuff like that. When I was up in Kenai, I saw a moose for the first time, and it was like towering over a stop sign. I had no clue how big they were. It was insane. It was crazy. I'm trying to think. Oh, my first like exhibition game, I was with Fairbanks, and we pull up to the rink, and it felt like it was like a warehouse, and they had like clear, like I don't even know how to explain it. It was like clear plastic hanging down in front of the doors, and we we got scored on, and they threw like a salmon on the ice, and it was crazy. I think just going up there and on those trips, like those atmospheres, and ours in Janesville too, like definitely like top two and three atmospheres in the NAHL. It was easier to get up for those games, and I honestly preferred like playing there too. Like it's almost fun to be, the one that they're rooting against. Play a little bit more free and with a little bit of an edge. But no, nothing too crazy that I can think of other than just that salmon story. And my first year when I was playing tier three and we had to go out to Boston for I think it was either the showcase or for nationals. And me and this kid, like our flight it was like a huge snowstorm. So our flight got delayed like two or three times, and we literally got off the plane, got picked up by like our equipment manager, and we're literally getting dressed in the car, like on the way to the rink, showed up to the rink and like 5 minutes before on ice warm-ups. So yeah,
Wow.
that was definitely the crazy stuff. But other than that, nothing too much that was like, wow, like this is I mean, it's just like kind of like the stereotypical cliche stuff, like
Yeah.
getting the null 2x4 stick that would never break. But yeah, bus broke down a couple of times, but nothing too
Yeah.
major.
Yeah, some of those fans take it pretty serious, huh? For the in just different junior leagues, and you get some crazy fans that are just really into it.
Yeah, it was insane. I remember my second year when I was with Janesville, we went up to Fairbanks for the first round of the playoffs, and they did a 50-50. And the whole week that we were up there practicing, I think we came in on like a Monday and we practiced uh, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. First game was Friday. The whole week they had the 50-50 raffle posted on the screen of this TV. And the first day it was like maybe in the thousands. And I was like, okay, that's nothing like too major. By the time we got to like the second or the first or second game, it was at like 20, 30K. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people are serious, and their GM is out on the ice ripping around a four-wheeler. Like it was incredible. I'm telling you,
Wow.
the the organization up there in Fairbanks and the one in Janesville, like I said, are just two top tier organizations that care so much about their players and about the fans and about just the whole community aspect and just like making it fun and exciting for everyone.
I guess what else are you gonna do up in Alaska? I mean, you got to be devoted to your hockey. There's not much else.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, it was the second time so we'd usually go up earlier in the year. We'd go like a couple weeks after the showcase so that the climate was pretty mild. But when we'd go up there the second time, it would be like February, and Fairbanks is like 40 below. It's like, it's like, are you kidding me? This is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. People probably just get used to it. The people who
Oh
live
yeah,
up there are like,
it's
ah,
just
whatever.
yeah, it's just normal.
That's wild. I would never want to get used to that. Like, I wouldn't want that to be my normal.
Yeah, I guess I gotta say when I was up there like in the fall for my first year when I flew up there for training camp, man, it is beautiful. Let me tell you, like I understand the part of like weathering like the no sunlight and the cold temperatures for that summer and fall. Like I could definitely see it being worth it,
Yeah.
especially if you're someone that's like loves the outdoors and loves like activities. Like I could definitely see, yeah, I could see that paying off.
Just have a summer home up there. Don't deal with the winters. Just have a nice summer home if you've got the
Yeah,
money, obviously.
exactly, exactly.
All right, let's dive into your college career here. Is it kind of crazy looking back? I mean, you're at year 4 now, like time just kind of flies.
Yeah, it's gone by so fast. We were bringing up we were lifting or skating the other day, and we brought up a couple names of guys that were on the team freshman year, and me and a guy who are both seniors looked at each other and we're like, dude, that feels like so long ago. Like it doesn't even you don't even like actively think about it, and you just don't realize how much time has gone by. But yeah, man, it's been a blast. So like I said, I'm so fortunate to be here and in this position, and just loved every second of it.
Your first year obviously was the COVID year, so it was a little wacky. I mean, just dealing with everything and not playing in front of fans and just kind of like the whole college sports world was obviously all screwed up as everything was. But you did get your first goal that year, goal against Northland. So I mean that had to be a pretty exciting moment, even in a weird season.
Yeah, it was a super weird season. I mean, we didn't really know like when we were going to start competing, if we were even going to compete for anything. So it was just like super weird because like I obviously had committed, and I know that I was talking with our coach, and we just knew that everything was going to be up in the air. So we came here, um, started working out right away because we were allowed to, as long as we were like masked up and stuff like that. And we did a lot of stuff like outside that, so that like we didn't have to wear the masks and whatnot. And then we started going into practices in like pods. So we split up. Like I live with 4 hockey guys, and they split us up with like 2 other houses. So we had like half the team practicing at one time, half at the other time. And then it finally got to the point, I think it was like over winter break, we all hopped on a Zoom call, and our coach was like, yeah, we're not going to compete. We don't get to compete for a national championship, but we do get to compete in the WIAC. So we're all obviously super stoked about that because, man, let me tell you, practicing every day, day in, day out for, I don't even know, 6 months, it was exhausting. And to finally get it to pay off, like, and be able to play those games, I understand that, like, we didn't have the atmosphere that we traditionally do. Um, my parents were able to tune in through YouTube. We have a great color and analyst, um, Shawnee Mack and Weaves. They're top tier in the business. Man, they put on a production that's NHL level. Let me tell you, it's incredible. So my parents got to tune into that. Um, and yeah, it honestly snapped by pretty quick because we were playing on Wednesdays and Fridays. So and then I think there's only 5 or 6 of us in the WIAC, including us here at Point. Um, so yeah, it snapped by pretty quick, and yeah, I was fortunate to pot one my first year. But yeah, no, it was so much fun, and like I said, just putting in all that effort all that year, and to finally like be able to compete a little bit was awesome.
Was it a hard adjustment going into year 2? I mean, you only played 12 games year 1, and then you ended up playing, like 27 year 2. Was that hard? Because you weren't used to playing that many college games. Obviously, you play a lot of games in juniors, but it's a whole different atmosphere. You don't have classes and like studying and everything else mixed in there.
Yeah, I would say that it was a little bit of an adjustment. Like we started transitioning to in-person classes, so it did feel like I had a little bit more on my plate. And yeah, man, like it's hard. It's hard like to go day in, day out and play Friday, Saturday, and play when your body's not feeling 100%. And yeah, I guess it felt a little, it felt definitely a little bit longer too. Like even though we had like that extended period in the fall and winter of my freshman year where we still were like practicing every day. Yeah, those games just add up, and the blocks and the hits and all that stuff just continues to compile on top of each other. But no, yeah, it definitely like it was a relief to like play again though and be like in the atmosphere that is the KB Willett. It's incredible. There's a couple videos on YouTube um about our rink and like our student section and stuff like that. And I remember, so we usually open up with Norbert's the first weekend of the series, like a Friday, Saturday. And we went there on Friday, and I think that we tied or won in OT. Maybe we dropped it in OT, but I can't remember. And then we came back here, and it was the first time that I had ever had. We call it the KB Willett experience. It's like on YouTube. Um, First time I'd ever experienced like the fans and everything. And I remember I was starting the game, and the pep band's right behind me, and just that we had like a chant for like the lineup, and I'm like, I've never experienced any of this in my life. Like I'm literally like about to black out from adrenaline, and I can't even hear my name get called, and I'm like, this is the craziest thing that I've ever been a part of. Like, because like it's different when in juniors you don't really, I mean, you know your billets, and like if your families are there, and you know like some of the other billets in the crowd and whatnot. But man, like when you have people that know you and have like seen you in class, and you make friends like on the weekends and throughout the week, and just seeing them at other sporting events, and they're cheering you on. It's like a whole nother aspect of like, this is like incredible. This is like what people dream of.
Yeah. Yeah, I work with a couple people that went to UWSP, and they were talking about how like packed the home games get, and how for certain games like there'll be such a line out the door, people waiting to get the student tickets because there's such a small student section. And I was just a nuts, crazy atmosphere.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I think it's like 300 or 400 free student tickets, and then everything else you got to buy a general admission. But like the doors open 60 minutes before the game, and we'll be finishing warm up, and I'll just be sitting in the stands, and people are filing in. It's incredible. And then by the time we're stepping out for warm ups, the whole student section's packed, and half the bowl is packed. And I remember Augsburg, when we were hosting the NCAA, there was I was worried I couldn't even get my parents tickets. It was incredible. We sold out in like, it was like an hour. It was
That's
incredible. There were
that's wild.
students lined up at the ticket office because tickets went on sale like 8 a.m. People were like there at like 5 a.m. It was incredible. Yeah,
That's nuts.
they love their hockey, and we're very fortunate to have them backing us and supporting us. So
Yeah, it's a
just
huge,
it's
huge plus.
awesome. Hmm.
Huge advantage that not every team has. I mean, there's a lot of teams that can barely fill their barn. Either it's not a hockey town, or maybe they don't have the most successful program. And when you don't have that fan support and that electric atmosphere in the barn, I mean, it really can put a killer on it. I mean, obviously, about playing in empty barns, having played in that COVID year, and it just gives it a whole different feel.
Yeah, it's so contagious, and when we're struggling or we're fighting to find energy, like we've had a couple stints this year where we played 5 games in 9 days, and it's just hard. It's hard to find it when you know that they have your back, and they're beaking the other goalie, or like they're getting up for a big hit or a goal or something like that. Um, it's super easy just to catch that energy and use it when you're out there on the ice.
Yeah, definitely. Well, last year you guys had a pretty big year. You had 4 goals. You guys beat Eau Claire to win the WEAC, and then you made the NCAA tournament. You had an overtime win, and then a tough overtime loss to Adrian. But I mean, overall, awesome season, making it to the NCAA tournament. Everyone's goal is to get there and at least get to experience it and play a few games. So I mean, think back to last year. What was that all like? Towards the end of the season, some of that exciting stuff there.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences. Like I said, like my sophomore year, we unfortunately fell short, and our goal every year is to win a national championship. And I hadn't had a taste of NCAA like tournament play until last year. And yeah, we drew Augsburg. we kind of figured that we were going to draw Augsburg, and then we knew that our next step on our journey was through Adrian. But yeah, like I was saying, for that Augsburg game, there was, so behind one of our nets we have our student section, and on the other side there's like the goal judge, and it's kind of like a flat area that's maybe like 15 feet deep. It was just a sea of people. It was unbelievable. And we had like game passes and stuff like that. I think I still have mine from both Augsburg and Adrian. And we had guys coming to like proctor our practices and make sure that we weren't using more than, like, we had like an hour every day that we could like meet legally. And then Augsburg showed up and they'd be on the ice right after us. And like I said, I had my friend from juniors on Augsburg, and ironically, we kind of have each other's number when we play each other. We've played each other four times. He scored in 3 of the games. I scored in 1 of the games, but I had 2, so we kind of like joked that it was even. But yeah, ironically, he ends up scoring for them in that NCAA game. And I just shook my head and I was like, of course it had to be him. No, that game was amazing, and obviously we went to quadruple overtime. Like, I think it was the 6th longest game in NCAA history, and we have guys in the locker room in between periods. I remember there was one time I wheeled the puck. It was maybe the second OT. Yeah, it had to have been because the benches were normal, and my legs just gave out. I just fell down. It was it was unbelievable. We had guys like crushing like bottles of Coke, and we had like
Just trying to get a
mustard.
little
Yes,
extra zing
anything,
and yeah.
anything. We had guys running from the concession stands, like bringing us stuff, and it ended up being like 12:30 when the game ended. It was incredible, and everyone stayed there, which was amazing. And I think that everyone kind of knew that it was like, wow, this is like, one, a great game. 2, this could be historic,
Yeah.
so it was just awesome to have them there too. And then yeah, David Hill ends up icing the game, and that was awesome. And I remember I got off the ice after that game and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I could have gone longer, but I'm like, I don't know if I had another shift in me, you know it was unbelievable. And then yeah, we had a quick turnaround to go to Adrian. And I think that we sprung ahead an hour too, which was weird because like we got off the ice, and I ate and I like met up with my parents and like I showered and whatnot. Next thing you know, it's like 3 a.m. because I think it was like March 9th or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get to bed. And you don't sleep very well after a game like that, especially. And then we had, like I said, quick turnaround to Adrian. We hopped on the bus, and I think it was maybe 8 hours to get there. Practiced Wednesday, Thursday. I don't think we practiced Monday. I don't even know if we practiced Tuesday. We had guys getting sick. We had guys getting like a stomach bug because everyone was just so worn down. Like, you can take care of yourself so well, but there's nothing really to combat like what you just went through. Um, yes, we pulled up to Adrian Tuesday, practiced twice. Oh no, I think we played on a Saturday. Yeah, we did. So we must have done Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we were there for a while. Not much to do. It just felt like I was back up in Alaska. You know, you're just kind of isolated with your buddies on the team. Yes, we were there for a couple days, and we ended up playing them Saturday. And man, it was such a great game. I know it didn't end in our favor, but it was every game that I'm able to be a part of is just such a blessing, and I'm so fortunate, and just so much fun to compete and play the game that I love. And yeah, we ended up going to overtime again, and we're all on the bench, and we're like, we're not doing this again, guys, right? We can't do this again. Unfortunately, the refs put us down 5-on-4, and then I think they put us down 5-on-3. It's kind of unbelievable that they did that. And then we let one up, and I remember it's just like I was just numb for probably 2 minutes at least, just staring dead into space on the bench. And I was like, can't believe this just happened. Like, I can't believe it's like over like that. Like, it was, I don't know. I think a lot of times, like when it ends, you think about all that hard work and all those days that you put in, and all those early mornings and time on the ice, and the pain and the suffering and the sweat and the heartbreak of losing. And you kind of just sit there and you're like, wow, like it just sinks in, and you just feel the weight of it. And you just I didn't know what to do. I was like, didn't I didn't think that this is how it was going to end. I really felt in my mind, and I know that we had the joint consensus in the locker room that, like, after that Augsburg game, we're like, no one can beat us. We're gonna get there and win it and do whatever it takes. We have whatever it takes. We can do this. And yeah, it was just such a shock, and ended so quick. It was like off a draw. They hit like a one timer, and the rebound was just laying there. Next thing you know, it was in the back of the net, and yeah, it was yeah. So hopefully this year we can get some redemption. But
Makes you hungry for this year.
yeah, absolutely. I think we had a huge returning class. Like my recruitment class of freshmen was super big, and we kind of and the one behind us is pretty big too. And we're kind of like, you know what, like we have to get it done. Like this is if there's any time to do it, like we have to now, because we don't have another chance at this. And like I said, like towards the end of the season, and it's nice that we do have that experience now, but towards the end of the season, every game starts feeling like a playoff game. It doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing, everyone is fighting, because everyone can feel that looming feeling in the back of their mind that you never know when it's going to be your last. You never know when it's going to be your last shift, last goal, last win. Like it ends so quickly, and it's if you don't cherish the moments, like you get it swept out from under your feet so quick.
Yeah. And we're almost to that point. You've got what, two more series left, Northland, and then what is it, UW Superior or
Yep. So we go up to Northland, and then we host Superior, and then hopefully have a little bye, and yeah, then we're right into WIAC. And let me tell you, the second half of the season, it's felt like I blinked and it's gone straight by. I'm serious. Just got into classes, and we're already 4 games left in the regular season. So it just goes to show that you can't take anything for granted, and when you do get the opportunity to play the game that you love, you got to make the most of it.
yeah. And you guys are having a great season, especially at home. You guys are 9-1-1 at home. I mean, it's pretty darn good. It doesn't get much better than that.
No, yeah, we definitely feed off the atmosphere, and we know that it's one of our strengths, and we definitely want to be on home ice all of playoffs. We know that that will make our path a little bit easier, but getting there is not guaranteed. Like I
Hmm.
said, like anyone can beat anyone any given night, especially when it's do or die. But yeah, man, the Willet does what does wonders for us. So we're hoping we can host all the WIAC, and hopefully we can maybe pull one for NCAA's, and just make our journey just a little bit easier, and give back to the people who have been there for us all season. And they deserve to see some NCAA playoff hockey too.
And hopefully not have a 4 overtime game where you just like completely blow your exhaustion, your energy, and like everything all in one game. Like
Yeah, I
that
wouldn't I
definitely
wouldn't
not desirable.
yeah, I wouldn't hate for it to end in regulation for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, but
Yeah.
whatever it takes, if it means us going to 4 OTs again and we win, I mean, sign me up.
Yeah, right. You'll
You know?
take it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the only way.
Exactly.
Let's talk about a few other just kind of random things as we wrap up the episode. Like, what's your favorite hockey team growing up or, currently too?
Yeah, just being from Minnesota, I'm a huge Minnesota Wild guy. I kind of know our destiny every season, that we're gonna find our way into the playoffs and
Yeah.
inevitably lose that first round of playoffs. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I met Zach Parise when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and then he ended up getting traded to the Wild. So, and I loved Mikko Koivu and Marion
Oh yeah.
Gaborik back in the day. So yeah, there was a lot of good names, and Bugard, of course. We always used to be. So my dad would he built an outdoor rink for me and my buddies in our neighbor's yard for 2 or 3 years, and there wasn't much hockey being played. Let me tell you, there was a lot of scraps though. Probably not what he intended it to be used for. But yeah, no, it was definitely, we were all Minnesota Wild fans, because I mean that franchise started in like '99 or 2000, right when I was born. So yeah, I kind of grew up with them and went through the growing pains. But that's essentially Minnesota sports. It's you get the same thing from the Vikings and the Twins, but the Wolves are on a heater right now, so we'll
Yeah.
see if they can bring us a championship. I'm pretty sure we have the longest drought. We're the state with the longest drought with all four major professional sports teams. So
And
got that going for us.
it's crazy when you like look at the talent on like all these different rosters. Like you look at the Vikings, you got Justin Jefferson, like arguably one of the top 5 wide receiver in the league. You got Kirk Cousins, who's a pretty good veteran leading your team. You got all this talent. You look at the Wild, you got Kirill, obviously, and all these different guys, you could list them off. You look at the Wolves and for having like Carl Anthony Towns for so long and like not
Yeah.
being able to win and like a guy that talented. It's just kind of like it's painful when you know that there's talent on your team and your team can't do it.
Yeah, no, it hurts, and I try not to get emotionally invested, but I love my teams and I love just rooting for them, and it's a good pastime. But man, it hurts the heart every year. You know in the back of your head that's it's inevitable, that it feels like a curse, feels like a Minnesota curse, like we never have anything nice, you
Yeah.
know.
A little bit. Well, all the curses end. I mean, you look at the Lions, and they were cursed for so long. They finally, made it to the NFC Championship, obviously losing, but still big turnaround for that
Yeah,
organization. So maybe the
absolutely.
curse will end in Minnesota too.
I'm hoping so.
Who was your favorite player growing up? Who'd you look up to the most?
Growing up, oh, that's a good question. I honestly, it wasn't really an NHL, right? So at Armstrong, we had a couple guys that before my time, I think I was like a squirt or peewee. They'd come back and they would coach our STP camps. Um, Corey Thorson, he was he was a little bit older than me, and Tommy Fallon. They both played high school at Armstrong. My dad would always bring me to the Armstrong games, and he'd be like, "These are the guys that you need to, these are the guys that you need to watch." So I loved watching them growing up. And in terms of NHL, I'd probably say it was Gabrick, honestly, just because he was kind of the guy. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, definitely those guys. But man, I work with my local association. Like I still go back and train and skate and help out with our summer training program, because I remember how big of an impact it was on my career. Like seeing those guys, I think one played at Yale and one played at St. Cloud. Like seeing those guys come back and just like idolizing them. I'm like 7 or 8 years old, and I'm like, wow, these guys are heroes. Like they're like my god. Like, they're they're just like they're superhuman.
Yeah.
So it was so I always like to give back, and me and my high school coach have a great relationship. And like I said, I always remember how it made me feel to see those guys like come back and help out. And you just look up to those guys, and obviously they did all the right things to get to where they were at. So yeah.
Who would your dream line mates be? You get like anyone on your line ever. Out of all the
Oh,
great hockey players that ever played the game.
oh boy. Oh, that's a good question. I'd put Flurry in that just because he's
Yeah.
on the Wild. He's on the Wild right now, and he's a great guy. Let's see, if I were to have a D partner, who would I want? I think who's in the NHL right now. I like Doughty. My cousin always used to like Doughty too. He's kind of a rough guy, so
Yeah.
he'd probably need to be the enforcer and protect me if I'm getting buried in the corners. Um, let's see, up front. God, I'd have to do Gabrick for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I used to love Datsuk too. My high school coach was a big Detroit Red Wings guy, so I'll put Datsuk, and I'll put Kaner up there too,
Yeah.
just because he's unreal, and he terrorized our franchise for so many years. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always see like that shootout goal of him just coming in, slowing up, and just having the silkiest mitts. And Backstrom, I think it was Backstrom in that bit so hard, and he rips it right into the camera, like dead center of the net. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's it's showtime. What do you expect?
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be pretty darn good. Those would be some good line mates to have. That'd be pretty sweet to get to
Yeah,
skate with some of those guys. That'd be
yeah,
nuts.
absolutely. Zip it around a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your favorite movie?
I'm huge on like the oldies, honestly. Caddyshack is a super
Oh,
good one.
yeah.
Yeah, Caddyshack's
Yeah.
a really
Love
good one.
that. Hilarious.
Yeah, such a good movie. Um, I like the Goonies a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with the
Really? Oh,
Goonies.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's kind of surprising, actually. Like, I don't know. I feel like I ask, most, I don't know, people who are in college right now or just out of college, and everyone says, like, oh, yeah, I like, I don't know, but they'll name some Will Ferrell or like Adam Sandler movies and, Grown Ups or Wedding
yeah,
Crashers or something. They're like, oh, those are my favorites. But nobody ever pulls out like Caddyshack and Goonies, and that's some good stuff.
yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like the Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell's, those are classics. Those are timeless.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
can
yeah.
definitely
No,
go
that's
back and
great stuff.
rewatch. Yeah, but yeah, I think I watch Caddyshack like every summer. Me and my dad are getting back into golf now that I have a little bit more free time, like over the summers, because obviously the junior season's super long. Um, but yeah, we always watch that one. I'm a huge Star Wars guy too.
Really?
So yeah, very big. I used to be obsessed. I was an Indiana Jones guy too. So there's about a 3 or 4 year span where I was Luke Skywalker for Halloween and I was Indiana Jones and I had like this whole get up and my mom like put I can't remember what she put like something on my face to make coffee grounds stick to it. So I had like a 5 o'clock shadow. So I literally felt like I was him.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a blast. And those like me and my buddy from up the street, we'd always get together and we'd play like Lego Star Wars and Lego Indiana Jones, and we'd watch those movies over and over and over and over again. Probably
Yeah.
recite some of them by
Did
by
you
heart.
did you go see the new Indiana Jones?
No, I haven't. I think I saw that it was on Disney Plus, and I wanted to watch it. So yeah, I gotta
I haven't
throw it
seen it
on.
either. I don't know. I don't know what to like expect. I don't know.
I know. I think the third one was a little bit of a reach. It was good. Don't get me wrong, like the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Or was that the fourth one?
That's the fourth one.
Okay, is it are they on the fifth now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the fourth he was like a little bit older, and I was like, okay, like I can get behind this, and it should probably be the last one, but they came out with another, so I feel obligated to watch it. I
Yeah.
feel like I owe it to the franchise in my younger self.
Yeah, I love that. That's funny. What about music? What's your go-to?
I'm a huge country guy. I do like rap and like hip hop and stuff like that,
That's
but
got to
I'd
be the
say
locker room stuff, right?
for sure. Yeah, but if I'm just cruising around or I just chuck my AirPods in or I'm up at the cabin or something like that, it's gotta be country. I'm a huge Morgan Wallen guy. One of my favorite songs is Seven Summers. I'm picking up the guitar right now and uh, trying to get a couple songs down. So it's always fun when there's one that I really like and I'm able to strum a couple chords of it. Yeah, so huge Morgan Wallen guy. I saw him on his first trip of the tour last year. Me and a couple buddies on the team went up to uh, Miller Park or AmFam, Milwaukee Brewers place. Saw him. Man, it was a riot. Hadn't seen hadn't seen a concert and I don't even know, probably a country music festival or my first one when I saw Hoodie Allen. I was like seventh grade. Uh, that was a treat. But my sister bought me tickets to Riley Green. Yeah, he's at the Armory. It's in Minneapolis. It's like a super cool and historic venue, and she got those for me for a graduation gift. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, but those are probably my guys and Luke Combs,
Yeah.
obviously. Can't go
Yeah.
wrong with those. And I dive into the 80s, I'd say, and like classic rock over the summer too. It's good to have like the Eagles or something like that going on the golf course.
Yeah, it's good to have a little range, depending on the time of year. I mean, certain kinds of music go better with with certain activities. You throw that 80s music on when you're on the golf course, it makes you feel like you're actually in Caddyshack.
Yeah, no, you're literally that must be where it connects in the brain.
Yeah.
I play a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, that's awesome. Well, Nick, thanks for hopping on the pod. Definitely enjoyed going through your hockey career and talking about some other stuff. Wish you guys the best of luck here, running down the final stretch here of your senior season here. Definitely exciting. I'll be rooting for Stevens Point to take a little run, see what
Yeah, thank
happens.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me too. It was a pleasure to be on here, and I'm glad that we could do this. And yeah, let's go Pointers.